There's a moment just before your whole life changes where you think everything's going to plan. And then boom, all the rules change. The things you thought were true aren't anymore. That path you thought you were on of how life's going to unfold, gone, vanishes. And suddenly you're not living the life you expected, and you're trying to figure out what just happened. What have I just been handed? So if you've had this moment, where you've got some diagnosis that changed everything, or some other event like a serious accident, or that look that someone has on their face, and you know that things are bad, that things will never be the same. I had that moment, actually twice in my life. One was 33 years ago, the day before Ben was born. And then the next day, that moment that I thought everything was going according to plan, they told us he might not survive. Nothing prepares you for that. But looking back, if I could have talked to myself the day before, knowing what was going to happen, I know what I would have said. It wouldn't have softened the blow. It wouldn't have made things easier, but it would have given me a solid footing at least, and some direction and some bit of a roadmap. So what I want to share is not advice, it's just a hard-won truth of how you get through these terrible moments. So the first thing I would have told myself is embrace the gift you've just been given, which sounds crazy because now your whole life's just been blown up. This was and is the hardest thing to get your head around. That this terrible situation you've been given, this terrible diagnosis, or what feels like a sentence, a life sentence, is actually a gift, something that will be the best thing that could ever happen to you. It took me the longest to actually believe this, but it's what brings long-term peace, honestly. Because when you're handed the news that you've got some fatal illness or your child may not live the day, you're not filled with that, oh wow, this is the greatest thing that ever happened. You're filled with fear. You're filled with so much pain and confusion and chaos. But what happens is that over time, when you start to get back on your feet, you see things that other people don't see. You see injustice, you see the inequality, and you see the silent things that never make the news. You stop taking things for granted. You see every person, that every life is of equal value, and that everything's not a problem or a case to be solved. A wise person once told us, just take Ben home and love him like all your children. And it turns out that was the wisest, the best care plan someone could ever give us. The second thing I would have told myself is ignore the naysayers. Those with credentials, doctors, and therapists, and educators. Some of them, all they can see are the deficits, and all they can see are the problems. And they'll tell you to be realistic, and they'll say, there's nothing much we can do in this situation. I'm really sorry. One of those experts told us on day 4 of Ben's life is that he's probably never going to walk, talk, or go to school. And in part, he was right, but in part, he was so far off. Because you know what? Because Ben graduated from high school, and Ben graduated from university. So what I learned from all that is that if you can dream something up, if you can picture it in your mind, then there's always a path to get there, despite what the naysayers have to say. So ignore that noise. Don't discard it, but ignore it. And because most people only see the limitations, and a lot of those are true, but that's not the whole picture, because you've got to hold that vision until the others catch up. Just think about that for a second. And another thing I would have told myself, and I'm telling you, is let your family member birth you into the person that you were meant to be. That sounds crazy too, just like that it's a gift. But this isn't about who your child will become, or your parent, or whomever it is that you're caring for. It's about who will you become. Ben changed me without even speaking a word. His voice, is as loud as my willingness to listen to it. So if you let them, your family member will ignite a passion in you that you never thought you had. It will awaken something powerful in you that you never thought you had. You'll go to places that you never thought you'd go to, physically, spiritually, emotionally. But it's not all hardship. There's abundance there. There's a purpose. There's a reason why you're in this position, why you've been given this gift. So let that unfold. Let them birth you into the person you're meant to be. And yes, there is joy along the way. It's not all about doom and gloom. So one thing to remember through all of this, despite all the hard days, is that you're not helping someone just survive this moment. You're being shaped by it. You know, the pain you're feeling now, it's doing something. It's carving out a space for strength and tenderness that you don't even know you have yet. You may not see it. You may not believe it. You might think, Mike, you're totally disconnected. You have no idea. But it's there. It really is. And it's yours. Be willing to listen to it. If any of this speaks to you, positively or negatively, or you think I'm completely crazy, just drop a comment below. Tell me how you're feeling right now in this moment. Because sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is name it and be seen. Get it out there and things start to change. I hope you have a great rest of your day.